on, let's go!
We are talking the ultimate zombie feast, a zombie anthology movie from 2012, which is 5 hours long. However, that's a little bit of a twist because that is the British release. The British release is 5 hours long and has a variety of zombie movies. However, where it was re-released in other countries, which had significantly less stories, so there is about just under 2.5 hour release of this movie as well, which has obviously got half the amount of movies in there. So this is a collection of unrelated short films from around the world, all obviously to do with zombies. Let's give you a general overview. I'm not going to go into each one individually because obviously it's a 5 hour film. So there are a couple of highlights. As with any anthologies, there's varying degrees of technical skill, there's varying degrees of acting skill, but one thing I would say with this film, there's a mix in regards to lengths of time, because there are some significantly longer ones here. There's a couple that are around about an hour long, so they're not quite feature length, but they're nearly there. And there's one about sort of 35 minutes, for example. There are a lot shorter ones, so it's a real mixed bag. But it's certainly good value for money, especially if you get the English version. I'll leave a link to the Amazon UK in the description box below, because that's better to get that version really than the other releases, which obviously have half as much stuff on there. Highlights for me, I'll be honest with you, this might sound like I'm being overly patriotic, but I thought the British ones were actually the best, generally speaking, in regards to the actual stories. Generally speaking, I thought they were the kind of the better movies, if you want my honest opinion. Two that stood out for me was my favourite was actually one called Dead Hungry, which is a shorter one. It's around 10 minutes. And it was like a comedy one, but it essentially takes the point of view of a zombie who's kind of like having these hunger pangs, basically, and you know, you see the kind of the college kids running around and trying to escape, but it's ultimately this kind of this zombie trying to slowly kind of catch up with them and not being able to kind of react fast enough and things like this, and even having a little bit of interacting with kind of other zombies. I thought it was quite fun. So that was really well done. It's not particularly gory, that one. There are a couple of fun scenes, however. One example where he loses an eye and gets caught on a tree, which was pretty gross, to be honest. The other one and that was a British one. The other one, which was also a British one, was one of the longer ones. I think it might have been called Zombeer for some reason, but I might be wrong about that one, however. And it's kind of like a military one, and it's about this kind of squad of soldiers that is sent in, where the reports have gone from where the zombies have evolved from the Romero-style slow-moving zombies into the Zack Snyder running zombies, and they kind of have been sent out to investigate. And that's one of the longer ones, and again, I quite like some of the way that kind of these military kind of, you know, personnel were acting, things like that. I thought it was quite good. Some of the other ones, I have to be honest with you, I felt some of the quality of filmmaking was quite poor. Just the kind of like the equipment that was used, you can tell it's just not as good. The acting sometimes was a little ropey. To be honest with you, it's you know, I'm not going to pick holes in this particular movie, but generally speaking, the acting is always going to be a little bit of a mixed bag in short films, because they generally speaking are using, you know, not professional actors or people who are not long into an acting career, things like this. This is what they're doing short films really, rather than like proper TV or feature lengths, things like that. So the acting is always going to be a little bit ropey, as is things like storytelling. There was one which had like incredibly annoying heavy metal music all the way through it. And I used to like heavy metal, but it's just like, I don't need it in scenes just to tell people how hard they are and things like that. It was just annoying. There's a kind of like an animated one. There are a variety, and like I said, they're from all around the world. But generally speaking, I will say the quality was reasonable. And even on the shorter release, even on the foreign releases, the non-UK releases, it's still 2.5 hours roughly, or just under 2.5 hours. So it's still pretty good value for money, I would say. And if you are a zombie fan, I mean, some of them are the tried and tested zombie films, you know, running away from zombies, although some of them try to do something a little bit different. And, you know, it's a varying result. But I've got to say, for value for money for me, even with the 2.5 hour version of it, that's still pretty good value. However, I mean, I have to say, on the flip side of that, this is an impossible movie, especially the 5-hour version, to watch in one sitting. So it does get a little samey, I'm not going to lie here, because, you know, zombies are widely kind of used, shall we say. But to be honest, I think there's only so much you can do in the zombie genre unless you are completely kind of changing the mythology. So yes, it gets a little bit kind of like, oh look, people running away from zombies and screaming and that. Let's see what the next film does. Oh yeah, look, it's people running away from zombies and screaming. So there you go. But I have to be honest, I still think the quality is pretty good. Some of these films have ended up on other zombie anthology movies. This is the kind of thing, short films are genuinely kind of, you know, made to highlight someone's filmmaking talent. And sometimes sold to different anthologies, and sometimes you end up with the same films on kind of different anthologies. But there's classic zombie action here. If you do like your Walking Dead, your Romero style zombies, or even your fast moving ones, I think there is at least some stuff here to enjoy. And I do like the fact that we do have some longer films included on here. So in which case you can curate what you want to actually watch, and if you want to have ones that have a bit more story and kind of character development in there, you'll get that, or you have little bite-sized ones that obviously you can kind of watch and kind of get over pretty quick. So it's a pretty good package, if you ask me. Although it's very samey, to be honest. I'll give it a 6 out of 10 purely because I just think there is great kind of value for money in this package, and if you were a zombie fan, you have pretty much what you want, like a varying quality, but what are you going to do? 6 out of 10 for me. Have you seen it? What did you think of it? Leave me a comment and I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.